Monster Hunter Rise is the latest entry in Capcom's popular Monster Hunter franchise, and it also happens to be one of the most impressive titles to release on Nintendo Switch by far. Even considering myself a more casual fan of the series, this title has easily become one of the best games of 2021, and one that I'm finding harder and harder to put down. In Monster Hunter Rise, you take on the role of a new hunter, which you create along with your Palamute and Palico buddies. I spent a good amount of time in this portion of the game since there were so many options to play around with. Players live in the village of Kamura, which is threatened by a catastrophic event known as the Rampage, where hordes of monsters will target and attack the village all at once, and this is explained to have occurred over 50 years ago. It's a hunter's job to protect the village and help out its inhabitants by hunting monsters and completing various tasks. The story also focuses on the world's ecosystems that the character and the monsters inhabit, and the delicate balance that come along with it. However, most of this is found in lore-related items that you may find throughout your playtime. The characters that you meet within Kamura Village are enjoyable to interact with, such as Hinoa, Minoto, and the Elder Fugen. These characters exude quite a bit of charm with the help from the localization, which gives them a unique personality. The story itself can be entertaining at times, but takes a backseat when compared to the gameplay. Gameplay in Monster Hunter Rise can be quite challenging, but it's thrilling in so many ways. Players take on various quests from two quest givers in the village, separated into village quests that are story related and hub quests which ramp up the difficulty. It's recommended that you take a party along with you for the ride of these hub quests, which are required to increase your hunter rank. Each quest has a few different clear conditions, such as slaying a certain amount of monsters, fetching a specific number of items, and hunting various monsters. Each quest can be completed in multiplayer, either locally or online, with friends or random people in lobbies. During quests, you get to explore large and expansive locales that you can traverse on foot or on your Palamute, which is a bit faster and doesn't take any stamina away from you while dashing. However, you can also use the new wire bug mechanic to zip around the map and reach new areas, though this action is on a cooldown timer, so it needs to recharge. You can also find additional wire bugs for use during your quest, along with other endemic life that can either buff your stats or can be used in various ways, like binding your enemies and recovering your HP, among other stuff. The combat can be frantic as you stare down with a large monster you need to hunt. It's not the easiest feat to take down these monsters, as combat can feel a slight bit sluggish because you need to commit to all your attacks. However, there's a sense of rhythm that you find during battles that makes it exceptionally engaging. I had a great time experimenting with the different weapon types, but I found myself liking the charge blade the most, which works like a sword and shield and can be switched into an axe. Wire bugs can also be used in combat to get out of sticky situations or to perform special attacks known as silk binds, which can be used either offensively or defensively as a counterattack depending on the weapon type that you're using. It's a good idea to keep an eye on your stamina and your weapon sharpness, since these can degrade over time. There's a bit of a learning curve here, but I also feel that Monster Hunter Rise is the most accessible in the series so far, as I got into it more easily than some of the older titles that I've played. Defeating enemies, completing quests, and exploring will provide materials that you can use to forge new gear and improve that gear for use on your next missions. Further, Kamura Village offers a few different ways to prepare for your quest, such as the merchants, where you can buy items, or the canteen, where you can eat dango that buffs up your HP and stamina. At times, this gives you various buffing effects, including increases to the reward you get for completing quests, though these have varied degrees of success. It's this gameplay loop of tough battles with balanced rewards that make this adventure so addicting. Next to the usual quests you take on as a hunter, you can also accept rampage quests that work as a tower defense style game where you have to fend off a horde of monsters in waves. To help defend, you can set up various installations like ballistas, cannons, and other weapons. However, these quests don't appear as much as other quest types, perhaps later updates will add more of them. During online gameplay, Monster Hunter Rise runs pretty well. I haven't noticed a lot of lag during my time playing, and disconnects only affected me once or twice, though mileage may vary depending on your internet connection and whether you're on Wi-Fi or Ethernet. But I will say that taking down quests with a group of players is a boatload of fun. Monster Hunter Rise is simply gorgeous, from the varied locations like Kamura Village to the character models. I really love the ancient Japanese aesthetic that the game's art style and lore are influenced by. It's awe-inspiring to know that this was developed using the RE engine used for games like Devil May Cry 5. While Monster Hunter Rise may not look as photorealistic, it is still a huge feat to see the game running on Switch, developed with a particular engine, and still have it look this good. I found no issues with playing in both docked in handheld mode with a locked frame rate of 30 FPS, but that can dip when things get hectic on the battlefield. I didn't feel like this hindered my experience with the adventure, as I was more fascinated by how it handled in situations where I thought it would crawl. When it comes to sound design, the soundtrack is well done, containing a good few memorable tracks. The voice acting is also really impressive to listen to, whether you pick English, Japanese, or the Monster Hunter language options. Monster Hunter Rise is an amazing addition to the series that manages to be accessible for newcomers and contains so much for longtime fans. The addicting game loop of quests with friends and exploring these awesome environments provided a cathartic and natural gaming experience for me. Even with a few forgettable story beats or a dropped frame rate here and there, I had an amazing time hunting down monsters as I soaked up the charm of Kumara Village for hours on end. Noisy Pixel is giving Monster Hunter Rise a 9 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Please read the full review at noisypixel.net. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers who work hard to deliver news, reviews, previews, and more. Please subscribe to keep up with all our future content.